Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one, I'm going to be giving you the one reason why a narcissist comes back. Because I know it can be very confusing. They come back, it's like it takes you back in time. Suddenly they're all happy again, it's like nothing's wrong. They want to go back to the love bombing. They want to go back to the way that things were at the beginning. So yeah, I get it. It can be very confusing. It can make you wonder what is going on with them. How could they just suddenly change? It's like 1 minute there is all of these things wrong, all of these problems, and now all of a sudden everything is perfectly fine. So yeah, I understand there can be a lot of confusion about why the narcissist comes back and what is really going on with them. So I'm going to go deeper into that in this video. And if you like the sound of that, please hit the thumbs up button down below. Helps the algorithm to get this message out there. Hit subscribe and click on notifications to be notified when I go live in the future. And remember, if you would like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. Alright, let's get into this message. What is this one reason why a narcissist comes back? What could that possibly be? Because they come back with smiles and laughter. It's like nothing ever went wrong. It's like everything is just fine. So what is that about? What are they doing when they come back, acting like everything is normal? And I can tell you what that is. I can explain what is really going on in their minds and what compels them, what drives them to want to come back into your life. Because what happened towards the end of the relationship is that they were devaluing you. They had already used up all of your energy and resources, everything great, everything wonderful that you had to offer. Meanwhile, simultaneously, they were putting you down and making you feel like you're nothing, so that they didn't have to reciprocate anything back to you, and also they didn't have to feel small, inferior in your presence, while they were draining you, leeching from you like a parasite, a leech. So they devalued you towards the end of the relationship, and it caused them to feel a lot of shame as they were extracting all of this from you. And at the same time, it made them feel small, insignificant, worthless, because they couldn't even reciprocate a fraction of what you were giving out. So they were deflecting that shame onto you. They were projecting their insecurities onto you. Until it got to the point where you weren't getting nothing back. You were falling for their lies and future faking for a certain amount of time. Until eventually you began to wake up, you started to figure them out. You began to see the mask slip. You began to realize what it was you were actually dealing with. And then that's when they knew the jig is up. You're not going to fall for it any longer. You're not going to fall for that mirage, that illusion, that glance of the false self coming back to manipulate and deceive you again. And that's when they began to fear abandonment or rejection, maybe even exposure as well. And that's when they knew they had to get rid of you. They had to beat you to the punch. They had to get you before you get them. And that's exactly what they did. They got rid of you, they discarded you. Or in some situations, maybe they just became so toxic that you could no longer tolerate their BS. And then you chose to get rid of them because you realized, maybe you watched my videos, you discovered that things do not get better with narcissists. They never do, they never will. All you're ever going to see is this illusion, this mirage, but nothing is ever actually going to actualize. Nothing's ever going to come into fruition, because that's what it is. It's a mirage, an illusion, a deceptive outward appearance. It's intended only to manipulate and deceive you. And that's why nothing's going to change, nothing's going to get any better. And when you realize that, they want nothing to do with you, at least for a certain amount of time. Because remember, they're still them and you're still you. You're still this amazing, wonderful person that they targeted, that they wanted to be around, that they extracted all of those resources and energy from. That's still you. You're still that person. And they know that. Which is why the narcissist never actually moves on. I've done several videos about it before. The discard phase is an illusion. Now, in some situations, they may come back after a few days, a few weeks, a few months. In some cases, they could come back in 10 years. It just depends if they manage to find a suitable source of supply, a fool, a doormat, an emotional punching bag, someone who they can walk all over, someone who they can trick. If they've found that type of person, a codependent, maybe another narcissist who can feed back this fantasy to them, if they found someone like that, you may not see them for a while. It depends how much abuse, how much BS that person is willing to tolerate. So that really determines how long it will be until you see them again. Until they do come back, until they do hoover you. And when they do come back, what typically happens, although this doesn't always happen, but what usually does is that they will come back idealizing you, viewing you as perfect, the answer to all of their problems. This thing, this person who's going to make them feel better, who's going to heal their wounds that they experience from the new source of supply. Yes, that's who you become to this narcissist. And that's why they idealize you. They may return to the love bombing. They may come back with these fake apologies, false epiphanies, these promises to change, more lies, more future faking, whatever it is that they think you want to hear or see in that moment. That's what they're going to come back with. Because even while they've been away, they have been studying you. They have been examining your likes and interests, whatever they think is going to appeal to you. So that's typically what they're coming back with. And also sometimes, a lot of people fall for this, but you know what you were maybe promised before, the first time that you were with them, what they promised to do all along, what they always said would happen in the relationship, the future faking, the false promises. Sometimes if they feel like they have no other means, they may return giving you that very thing to try and lure you back in. Whether it was a vacation or a promise to change something about themselves, maybe even marriage. They may come back and they may propose to you. Whatever it is that they think that you want, whatever they think will appeal to your interests, your desires, your wants. Yes, sometimes they can come back with that. Most often they're going to come back with whatever they think is going to work on you, whatever they think is going to lure you in for another round. That's typically what they will come back with, and that's why a lot of times, yes, they do come back with these false epiphanies, these fake apologies. Sometimes they will even get down on their knees and beg you to take them back. You'll even see those crocodile tears. Yes, that's sometimes what they will do. And they may make you believe that they love you, that they've missed you so much, that they cared about you. And that's why they're coming back, to see if you're okay, to make things better for you. Yes, they may come back confessing their undying love for you. It's like this fairy tale, this love story, like something out of a Disney movie. They'll come back with that. They'll be following that narrative. But I can tell you, it is all lies. It's all falsehood. It is manipulation and illusion. They're not about that. They're not about any of that. If they were about that, they would have been about that before. If they were about love, togetherness, a relationship, intimacy, a connection, being vulnerable with another human being, having a family, a future. If they were about any of that, you would have seen a glimpse of that before. But you didn't, because there's no motivation there. There's nothing that drives them to want to build that with you or anyone else. They lack something called affective empathy. And that means that they cannot share or understand your feelings or experience. They can't feel what you feel. So when you're hurt, when you're feeling pain, they can't feel any of that. They can't feel your feelings or emotions. It doesn't affect them, and that's how they're able to hurt you. Because otherwise, if they had affective empathy and if they hurt you, they would feel your pain. So then they would have to stop. But they can keep going because they don't feel any of that. They are brain damaged. Certain parts of their brain are affected, and that's how their disorder is able to function, because they are low in affective empathy. They are, however, high in cognitive empathy, so they can read into other people's pains, weaknesses and vulnerabilities better than anyone else. They have to be attuned to that, because that's how they survive. They survive by figuring out, kind of like a salesperson, what is this person going to be vulnerable to? What is this person missing? What are they deficient in? What do they need? Yes, they have to be attuned to that, because that's how they survive. They do not survive by just being that for real, just naturally being something that has the potential to complete another person naturally. No, that's not them. It's all an act. It's all manipulation. That's not who they are. They portray themselves as being the one, as being your soulmate, but they are the furthest thing from that. If anything, they are the opposite of that. They just read into what causes you pain, what is your weakness, your vulnerability, and that's how they're so good at pushing your buttons, at pushing and provoking you, enticing you, getting you to react. That's how they're so good at that, because they're high in cognitive empathy, but they're low in affective empathy. Essentially, they are predators. They prey on your vulnerabilities. So when they come back, they're not trying to make amends. They're not trying to resolve anything. I can tell you that a narcissist does not want things to be right. They don't want things to be good, positive, healthy. They don't want any of that. That does nothing for them. They do not like a resolution. And that's why when they discarded you, they gave you no closure or validation. They left you in a state of confusion. Because again, they're low in affective empathy. They can't feel what you feel. So you could be laying on the floor in tears, wondering how they could do that to you. And whoop, there they go. They're walking straight out the door. They just don't even care. They don't feel anything for you. And it's because they're low in affective empathy. If they had that, then they would be able to feel what you feel. That's how they can so easily hurt you and then just walk away. Just pretend like you don't even exist. That's how it's so easy for them to do that. And when they're coming back, when they're hoovering you, when they're re-idealizing you, they're love bombing you again, it's the same thing. They are just looking for vulnerabilities, weaknesses. Even if you've moved on and you're happy and successful now, they'll come back just to try to prove to you that no, you're not happy, you're not successful, you're not doing good without them. Well, if that's difficult for them to disprove, then they will sabotage you. They will come back just to pick all of that apart, just to break it all down, just to destroy that, just to cause you pain. Yes, that is the only reason why a narcissist comes back. It is to cause you pain. Because, and this all goes back to the beginning of the relationship when you were with them at the start. Initially, yes, they idealized you, they saw you as perfect, but then they realized they couldn't be you. Your qualities couldn't be theirs. And after idealizing you, putting you on this pedestal, it made them feel like they're nothing in comparison. Like they're not even a fraction of your worth. And they're never going to be. Because they lack belief, faith, and hope in themselves, or in a higher power as well. They don't believe that they can be anything. They don't believe that they can achieve anything. And of course, that's what they then project onto you in the devaluation phase. But now their false identity is still tied to how you're doing. You become their reference point, their measuring stick. So even when they go off, they run off, they ride off into the sunset with a new supply. Well, as I've said before, they're actually riding off into the depths of hell. Because it's just a mirage. They think the grass is greener on the other side. As they're looking for this shiny new toy, this bigger, better deal. They think that initially, but it's only a matter of time until that goes wrong. Especially since they're a part of it. Because they're involved in it. And anything they touch turns to shit. It falls apart. Just give it time, it will. It always does. Just as it did with you. And I mean, you are the most carefree, easygoing person. You tolerate so much, far more than anyone else would. You did so many things for them, things that most people would never do. So if things couldn't work out with you, there's no way that things are gonna work out with anyone else. That is never going to happen. that is never going to be a reality. That is only ever going to be a piece of fiction in their imagination, because they couldn't make things work with you. And you were codependent or an empath, a very easygoing, carefree person. You tolerated so much, things that most people would never put up with. You were selfless, you had no boundaries. If they couldn't make things work with you, they're not going to make things work with anyone. Unless someone is willing to validate that fantasy, the illusion that they portray, unless someone is willing to go along with that and exist in this matrix, this fantasy world that they've created, then that's the only way that it's going to sustain. But of course, you were willing to do that because you are a truth teller. You woke up, you figured them out. You wanted something real. And that is something they are not about. So they move on. Initially, or so it seems, but then it's only a certain amount of time until they come back. Because they're still viewing you as this reference point, this measuring stick. Their false identity is based on how you're doing, how happy and successful you are in your life. So they have to constantly keep tabs on you. They have to check in on you to see how things are going with you. And if things are getting better for you, if you're happier without them, if you're moving on, that tells them they're not doing good. They're not doing very well. Because they have to be doing better than you. They have to be happy, more successful than you are. The problem is, a narcissist can't be happy. They can only experience a distraction from their emotional pain. And their disorder does not produce long-term success in anything. It's self-destructive. So while they're out there destroying themselves, they're still constantly comparing themselves to you as their reference point, this measuring stick. And they're realizing that no matter what they do, they can never measure up. They can never be as great as you are. And that's why, the one reason why they come back, it's to cause you pain. It's to bring you down. Because they're seeing you as though you're up here and they're down there. So they've got to pull you down to their level and then put you beneath them, because that's the only way that they can feel comfortable. They can't feel comfortable when they see you working hard and you're establishing a higher position above them. That makes them feel inferior, insignificant in comparison to you. So that's really where they come back. And even before they come back, they are monitoring you. They will be stalking you, whether it's on social media. They may use fake accounts. They may use their family or friends to spy on you. Or they may even be stalking you in person. You may catch them following you around. They've constantly got their eyes and ears on you. They're constantly watching you because you are their reference points. It's like if they want to know how they're doing, how happy they're supposed to be, how successful they're meant to be. If they want to know that, all they got to do is check in with you and see how you're doing, how happy you are, how successful you are in your life. Because they compare everything to do with themselves and their lives with you. And this is why they're so envious and jealous of you. Because they're viewing you as an extension of themselves. They're not viewing you as a separate person with your own feelings, wants and needs. They view you as an extension of themselves. And they take bits and pieces from you as the source of supply that you are to them. And that's why you may notice that they mimic you, and your likes, your interests, your dreams, goals, and ambitions, they begin to take on all of that. It's almost like now that's what they're striving for as well. Like they want to be a better version of you. Because they've abandoned who they are. They abandoned that a long time ago. But also from before, when they stole bits and pieces from the previous source of supply, they abandon much of that when they get involved with you. Because now they view you as being greater than their previous source of supply. So then it's like whatever they were interested in, whatever they liked, that all goes out the window. And now they're on to what you like. They're into what you're into. They're mimicking that. They're copying your style, your interests, your dreams. Now that's what they like. And this is how you should realize that they actually have no identity of their own. They don't really like anything. They're not interested in anything at all. They don't have any dreams, they don't have any goals or ambitions. There's nothing that makes them feel anything. Because again, they lack affective empathy. Nothing does anything for them. It may appear as though that it does, but that's just their programming, their conditioning. If you can go back far enough in their life, whatever it seems that is authentic about them, that was something they learned from someone else. And typically this is a result of their envy. They were envious of not particularly the thing that the person had, whatever that was, wherever it may be. It was more the feeling. Yes, they're envious of people's feelings and emotions. That's what they want, and they attain certain things in the hopes that they're going to get the feeling that they expect from that, from what they've witnessed from other people in the past. And this may not always be in real actual life, it could be from a movie as well. So that's what they're really looking for. They have no likes, interests, dreams, goals, or ambitions of their own. All of this was taught to them. These are things that they learned. And it's from studying other people. So their cognitive empathy was very useful then. But they have no affective empathy like us empaths, so they don't really feel like we feel. And that's why everything's all about trying to extract emotions. There's one thing a narcissist wants from you, it's your emotional reactions. They want you to feel something for them or because of them, whether it's something positive or negative. Believe it or not, they actually prefer your positive emotions if they can get that. The problem is that once you've seen the mask flip, once you've begun to figure them out, they can no longer get that from you. Because now you know who they are, you know what they're about, you know that it's a mask, it's a disguise for who they actually are underneath that facade. And once you realize that, they don't see you the same way anymore. They see you very differently. And instead, all they want to do is cause you pain. All they want to do is hurt you. Because they have this emotional flashback. It takes them right back to their childhood, where a parent rejected, abandoned them, neglected them, made them feel like they're not good enough. It takes them right back to that moment. And then they feel inadequate. And that's why they then want to hurt you. But then it's also like their parents hurt them by rejecting them or abusing them. And now they want to be the parent. They want to be on the other end of it. They want to be the ones who are doing that to you because in some sick, twisted way, it medicates their past traumas. And yet they'll make it all seem like it's all about you and things that you did to them. a fault or mistake that you have made, they will exaggerate it, they will blow it all out of proportion. And although, yeah, to some degree, there is some truth to that. I mean, they are very sensitive, they're easily hurt and offended. So you most definitely did cause at least one narcissistic injury there. But not only that, they've experienced many traumas before in the past from other people. But what's even greater than that, what causes them so much shame, what makes them feel so inadequate, are the things, the hurtful and harmful things that they have done. Because think about when you made a fault or mistake in your life. Maybe you felt guilt or shame. It played on your mind. You didn't feel happy or comfortable in your own skin. You didn't feel good at all. You wanted to escape. It's the same thing for these narcissists. Because they do not have a clear conscience. Somewhere in the back of their minds, it's playing out everything that they've done and how they're not a good person, how they're not worthy of anything in life. And that's why they seek to cause you pain and to harm you. As Dr. Ramani has said in her videos, narcissists have this shame abuse cycle. They feel shame, so then they abuse. And then as a result of abusing you, they then feel even more shame. So they constantly just accumulating this shame. And then they become even more dark, even more angry. You. So now let's go back to when they discard you. They discard you mostly because all of the things that they have done, the shame, it accumulates. And you keep seeing the mask slip. You're confronting them. You're threatening to expose them. So then they go off with a new source of supply, someone who doesn't know what they're really about. But then that shame is still there. And they cannot resolve that shame with anyone else. It's not going to have the same effects. Although that's exactly what they try to do. They search for you in someone else. The problem is that they can never find you. And that's why a lot of times narcissists do return to their previous victims, especially if they were high in affective empathy, because that's a part of the trauma for them as well, since you're such a giving, kind, generous person. So they got to come back to you. And on average, a narcissist does return to a victim 7 times before it's finally all over. And they come back to you because they feel a lot of shame, they feel like they're a bad person, and it's all about their image for them. It's all about how other people see them, because that affects and determines how they see themselves. So they come back to you to try to prove to you that they can be better, they're different, they're a good person. They're trying to love you, they care about you, they miss you. They come back with these fake apologies, these false epiphanies. They may even try to validate you in that moment because they want you to validate them. They come back because, yes, they feel a lot of shame as a result of the things that they have done to you. So now they want your validation. And really what's going on in their minds, somewhere in the back of their minds, this narrative is, make me feel like I am a good person. Make me feel like what I did wasn't that bad. But also, It's not real, it is fake. And you'll know that it's fake because they come back like nothing happened. They just want things to go back to normal again. They don't want to talk about what they did. They don't want to take accountability. All they really want is your validation. To make them feel like they're okay. To make them feel like they did nothing wrong. Because it's all about the image for them. They don't actually want to go within, self-reflect, and acknowledge that shame. They don't want you to cause those emotions to resurface, and that's why they don't want to talk about it. They just want to bury it, suppress it. And this is why, no matter where they go, no matter who they find, they're always miserable. They can never resolve that shame. They try to distract themselves with different sources of supply, whatever they can find, whatever they can use to try to medicate themselves in that moment. But that pain, that shame, it never goes away. Because it is the empath who is the source of their pain. And I would believe that in their childhood, and don't quote me on this, but I would believe that it wasn't so much the narcissistic parents who caused a lot of that shame for making them feel like they're bad or they're not good enough, but quite possibly because narcissists and codependents do go together, it could be that they feel like they let down their codependent parents, a parent who may have been an empath, a kind, giving, generous, selfless person. That may be where a lot of their shame stems from. And that may be why many of them, they don't specifically target codependents or empaths, but when they do get involved with us, they want to hurt us. They want to cause us pain. Because it is that codependent or empathic parents, that's who really made them feel like they're not good enough. Because they want to assimilate into relationships, family dynamics, society. They want to appear normal. They want to seem like they're a good person. They're trying to do the right thing. They want to seem that way. And of course, they disappointed their codependent or empathic parent. They let them down. They disappointed them. So I do believe that that may be a big part of the trauma for them. But again, it's not because they actually care. It's not because they feel guilt, they feel bad. It's all about their image. They want to appear normal. That is the most important thing for them. They want to make it look like nothing is wrong with them. Now that's how, with you, it's like in the home, they were abusing you, they were hurting you, they were doing all of these things to you. Or that outside of the home, they had this false persona. It's like what you saw from them in the beginning. They're using that to extract supply from other people outside of the home. And it creates this cognitive dissonance, these two conflicting beliefs, where it's like, who is this person? Are they this character or this one? And I do believe that neither of those characters are actually them. It's like this character that they use to extract supply outside of the home is kind of innocent and childlike. It's like this fake empathic character that they use. And then in the home, they use this abusive, authoritative, parental role. But I believe that that's not them as well. It's almost like they've just mimicked these qualities, these traits from their codependent or empathic parent, and then also their narcissistic parent as well. So it's like when they're with you at home, they are their narcissistic parents. And then when they're outside of the home and they're trying to extract supply, they use this character that is based on their empathic or codependent parents. But also that can get confusing as well, because if one parent was a narcissist, they may have stolen qualities and traits from the other parent who was more empathic or codependent. And also, as a means to protect and defend themselves, the empathic or codependent parent may have taken qualities and traits from the other parent who was narcissistic. So it can get quite confusing there as well. But keep in mind that most of this is based on my own experience and research. So it may not be 100% accurate. And I'm pretty sure that it isn't. So take it with a grain of salt. But also be aware that if this resonates with you in your situation, then there may be some truth to it. But only you will know that based on your experience. As for why they come back, I'm pretty confident in what I've said there. I do believe that that's going to be pretty accurate for pretty much everyone's situation who is watching this. Narcissists, they do come back to cause you pain. And yet, it can confuse you. They will mislead you and make you think that they want to get revenge, they want to hurt, punish you, sabotage you because of something you did to them. Now that's partially true, because what they think you did to them is that you hurt them, you harmed their false character, their reputation, you made them feel bad about themselves because you spoke the truth, because you confronted them. And I remember in my own experience just trying to record a narcissist reaction to me. She grabbed my brand new iPhone and smashed it on the floor as I was trying to show her a video recording that I just took of her attacking me. So you see, the last thing they want to see is who they actually are. As long as you reflect back to them the false character, everything is fine. But towards the end of the relationship, they leave because you keep reflecting back to them who they actually are. And they do not want to see that. That is no laughing matter to a narcissist. And that's why they leave, because they're running away, not from you, but from a reflection of themselves that they do not like. And yet they come back because they're seeking that validation. They want you to validate the false character again. They want you to make them feel like nothing's wrong with them. They're okay, they're a good person. What they did to you wasn't that bad. And if you take them back, if you give them another chance, that's exactly what it tells them. Because they look at it like, if what I did was that bad, then why would you take me back? Why would you want to be around me? Why would you talk to me again? So that's how they see it. But sometimes they may hoover you, they may just message you or call you on the phone. And all you really have to do is respond to that text, answer that phone call, just for a moment, just for a few minutes, and then that's all that they need. And then they may just leave you again. Especially if you were the one to discard them, or if you just made them feel rejected. They will try to get involved with you again, and they will act like everything's normal. They will act like they want to be with you again. And as soon as they know that they've got you, then they will discard you. So sometimes they come back, they hoover you just to discard you. And that is their sole motive, to get to be this person who rejects you, this person who conquers you. Because yes, they see you as being greater than them, so it's such an achievement if they can do that, if they can accomplish that. If they can cause you pain. Because they look at it like, if I can hurt you, then maybe you weren't really that happy. Maybe your happiness wasn't real. Because if it was, then why are you crying right now? Why are you angry? Why are you mad? If your happiness was real, how could I just take it away so easily? Or even with your success, they look at it like, if your success was real, if you were really that good, if you were really that successful, then how could they destroy it all? How could they take it all away from you? To them, that proves that no, you're not really that happy. You're not really that successful. Because it's been shown, as the little shaman, rest in peace, mentioned in one of her videos. She mentioned that narcissists don't really believe that their actions have any effects on people or things outside of them. So when they're doing these things to you, when they're harming you, they look at it more like you're doing that to yourself. You're the cause of it. And this is how with reactive abuse, they can push and provoke you until you finally snap, and then they'll focus on your reaction. And it's like they have this amnesia. They forget about everything they did to you. That doesn't matter. It's insignificant. They'll exaggerate your faults and mistakes while minimizing their own, because they don't believe that their actions can really impact the world. And this is why they go in above and beyond to try and impact your feelings and behaviors, because they don't believe that they're having any effect. So when they destroy you, when they sabotage you, they're looking at it like you're fake, you're not real, you're just manipulating them. And this is why they often go to discrediting you as well, because they see it as though if that was real, if you're really that happy, that successful, then how could they just bring it all down? How would they be able to do that? That's really how they see it. And yet at the same time, yes, they come back just to cause you pain. That is their sole reason for coming back. That is their only motive. They're not like you or I. They come back to hurt you. They lack effective empathy. They can't feel what you feel. They're not coming back because they love you, because they miss you, because they care about you. No narcissist is ever going to come back for that. They're coming back to hurt you. So sometimes it can get confusing because they love bomb you initially. They want to get you hooked. So they'll come back giving you flowers, gifts, sex, whatever they think you want. That's just to trap you, because they know if they come back and they go straight to hurting you, it's not going to hurt you that much. Compared to if they come back and they give you love, compliments, they tell you how much they've missed you, they give you gifts, they give you sex, they give you all of these things. They know that by giving you all of that, it's going to hurt you that much more when they take it away and then they cause you pain. Yes, they understand the effects that that has on people. This is why they initially love bomb, they put you on a pedestal first, just so that you're that much further away from the ground when you fall. Because they know it's going to hurt you that much more. And this is why when they do come back with a love bombing, you do need to be very cautious. Don't let them back in. Yes, it may be good initially, but then it's going to be that much more painful afterwards. So you do need to take that into consideration. Now I'm just going to scroll through the live chat. Let's see what people are saying. If you've got any questions, let me know in the live chat down below. I will read them out and respond to them. Mickey says, or they take their anger out on you for what someone else has done. Yes, that's very true, Mickey. Especially if it's someone, as an example, it could be someone at their workplace, such as their boss. They know they can't yell and scream at their boss because their boss is in a position of power over them and they don't want to get fired. They don't want to ruin their reputation. So what they do is they hold on to that anger, they suppress it, and then when they get home, they take it out on you. So yeah, Mickey, that's very true. They do take out their anger on their partner for what other people have done. Let's see what else people are saying here. Got any questions? Let me know. I will answer them and respond. XX says narcs laugh during sex. You know, I never actually found that in my own personal experience. From what I've experienced, narcissists didn't typically laugh during sex. I mean, there were occasions, but I would assume that's probably something they got from watching pornography or a movie. Some movies are X-rated and they have sexual scenes as well, of course. But usually, from my experience, they're like robots during sex. They don't really feel anything. For them, it's all just about gaining power and control over you. That's typically what they use sex for. But yeah, I would say that if a narcissist laughs during sex or tries to reveal any kind of emotion, it's probably fake. And it's probably just something they've seen in porn or some kind of movie. I wouldn't think that it's real unless it's some form of humiliation. And again, that goes back to the power and control. Intra-Alien asks, during the mask slip, prior to discard, what is the best way to get out? I can tell you that that is really the most difficult time to get out. I mean, as I said before, the best time to leave a narcissist is during the love bombing phase, while they're still idealizing you. Because if you just disappear then, they're not going to know what happened. You haven't caused that narcissistic injury yet. But once you've already caused that injury and you see the mask slip, then they're going to be very hyper vigilant around you, because they're already going to start fearing the abandonment of the exposure. So it can be very complicated, and it really depends on your individual situation, because they can be very dangerous. So I highly recommend that you do speak to a therapist or coach before you make your exit plan after you've already seen the mask slip. So I hope that helps, Intra-Alien. George, our moderator, asks, why do narcissists hold grudges forever? I would say that narcissists hold grudges forever due to a number of reasons, really. I mean, it's partly due to the affect of empathy. They're never satisfied. No matter how much you do for them, they're never satisfied. It's never good enough. And also, no matter how much they hold a grudge, no matter how much they harm you, they're still never satisfied there as well, because they have a void that can never be filled. They have no inner sense of value, no internal strength. So they're dependent on other people for that. And holding a grudge, in some ways, that gives them narcissistic supply. But also what gives them narcissistic supply also harms them as well. When a person holds a grudge, it harms them far more than the person they're holding a grudge against. But yeah, it's really down to this black hole that they have inside of them. This void that can never be filled. They can never be satisfied. No matter what they do to you, it never makes them feel better about themselves over a long period of time. It's only a certain amount of time until they're going to harm you again, because they cannot regulate their own emotions from within. Anyway, that's about 1 hour on you now. The sun is going down, and now it's time for me to get something to eat. Something vegan, of course, with no meat. But yeah, I do hope you found this video helpful. I hope that I've helped to educate and explain to you why these narcissists come back, why they re-idealize, the reasoning behind it. I hope I've helped to explain that to you. And if I have, you can show your support by giving this video a thumbs up down below. And also you can donate by going to my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. Also hit subscribe and click all notifications to be notified when I go live in the future. If you would like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also you can follow me on Instagram. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. I am uploading pictures and videos from last year's trip to Sri Lanka. So you can see all of that on there. Follow me. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. Alright, thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to speaking with you in another live video very soon.